Hola cinéfilos de Fuera de Foco, mi nombre es David M. Vera y hoy estamos con los directores y mentes maestras de la nueva cinta animada de Disney, Moana. How are you?
Very good.
Welcome to
Yes,
Mexico.
thank you.
Placer, gracias.
How did the idea for the story and the take the Polynesian culture for that?
It was about 5 years ago that we were pitching ideas to John Lasseter, and I was intrigued by the Pacific Islands. I'd never been to the Pacific, but I thought it seemed like a beautiful place, and the paintings I had seen done there were fantastic. So I started reading Polynesian mythology, and I discovered there was this character Maui, who was a shapeshifter, and he was like an action-adventure hero, a culture hero. He had tattoos, and the way he could transform into things, and he had a magical fish hook. He could pull up islands. I thought, what a great character to do in animation. So I shared that with Ron. He read the stories. We pitched an idea to John Lasseter. He liked it, but he said, dig deeper into the culture. So we went there 5 years ago. We went to the islands of Samoa, Tahiti, Fiji, and we learned so much there about their relationship to the ocean and how it's alive to them and how they're so proud of their background as navigators. So we changed the story around, and really Ron brought in the character of Moana as the centerpiece of the story.
Yeah, we learned so much about the navigation, the history of navigation, and how important it was to the identity of these people. And there was actually a 1,000-year gap where after the Western Pacific was migrated, everything stopped for 1,000 years, and then it started again, and no one to this day actually knows why. So we came up with this idea that what if it was because of the actions of a 16-year-old girl who really wanted to sail on the seas in a world where that had stopped.
Ha sido un sueño realizado, de verdad que I've wanted to write a Disney musical desde que vi a Sebastián cantando Under the Sea en La Sirenita. I was 9 years old. This has been a dream a long time coming, y para poder trabajar con los directores de esa película, colaborar con Opetaya Foa y Mark Mancina, súper talentosos escritores, y inventar este mundo nuevo de Moana y su historia ha sido increíble. 2 años y medio trabajando ahí.
This is your first movie made by where the animation is completely computerized.
Yeah.
Then how was all these changes to make the film?
It was a challenge for us because we had never done a film all in CG like this. Although there is a hand-drawn component, we have the little tattoo, Mini Maui. It was hand-drawn. Eric Goldberg, who did the genie, did that little tattoo. But by and large, the film is CG animation. So we had to go to class. We had to go to classes where they showed us this is how the production goes in CG. There's different departments, different parts of the process that don't exist in hand-drawn. So we had to learn all that and then sort of apply it during the course of the film. But the artists who work in this are amazing. They're hugely talented, and just because it uses computers, it's still the artists that tell the computers what to do, sort of. So it was a great learning experience for us, and we loved learning new things, basically.
Yeah, in CG, there's a lot of development and building of what we call building assets, which are characters and environments, and they all exist three-dimensionally, and it takes a long time to every element of the movie. Sort of Pacific Ocean is actually a character in the movie. It has a personality, you know what it's thinking, and it's throughout the movie. The Pacific Ocean is a presence throughout the entire movie, and it looks very, very beautiful, and that would be really, really tough to do in hand-drawn.
The inspiration really begins and ends with this culture, this incredible culture of the Pacific Islands. Yeah, Polynesian culture, and being authentic to that, and that's a culture that doesn't get seen on screen very often. So we felt a real responsibility to thread that needle of really being authentic to that musical language and telling this big Disney story.
I understand that the charismatic character Heihei and Pua are inspired by you guys. That's great. Can you tell me about it, please?
Well, originally, when we went to the South Pacific, or we went to the Pacific Islands, we saw roosters and pigs everywhere. I don't think we expected that necessarily, but just running around everywhere we went, and the roosters are crowing every time of the day, not just in the morning. We thought we have to have a rooster in this movie. Somehow we have to have a pig. And there is this cute little cuddly pig named Pua, and some people have thought, there's actually a similarity between myself and this cute little pig. And then there was this rooster, Hey Hey, who actually had an evolution in the movie.
Right, he's kind of spindly and kind of angular, so people thought I was more like the rooster. But when we were developing the movie, the rooster wasn't as funny as we wanted him to, so one of the storyboard artists said, what if we make him a lot stupider? So we made him very, very stupid, and he seems a lot funnier, and he works better in the movie now. So I'm not sure if that made him more like me or less like me. But.
¿Qué tan diferente es colaborar ahora musicalmente en una película después de Broadway y toda esta onda?
Es Broadway sin límite, you know. Estás trabajando con más gente, pero la colaboración es súper divertida porque a la misma vez you're in meetings con gente que tienen que dibujar durante el meeting. So you're talking to someone y están haciendo así. Right? Y al final del meeting hacen así, te dibujaron a Moana o Maui, y esa manera de colaborar con su you know, their visual language with my musical language, it's a dream come true.
Ariel, Jasmine, Tiana, and now Moana.
Yeah.
Already 4 princes do you give us? And how does it feel to know that you create for Disney stories? How do you feel?
It's really very an emotional experience right now. I think when we did The Little Mermaid, I think we didn't necessarily think that Ariel and the movie would still be around like 25 years later or however long that is, and even that that it would have the influence that it did, as well as Aladdin and many of the other movies. And these kids who see these movies, we realize these kids grow up and become adults, and they have kids, and we sort of knew that, but it really is actually more than I really anticipated.
Also on this movie, we got to work with some young animators who are in their 20s or early 30s, and they saw Little Mermaid when they were 8 years old. It made them want to get into animation, so that was very gratifying that we made a movie that sort of helped direct them into this career that they're in now.
Yeah. I grew up with your
movies. You saw them, is it? Yeah. You're welcome. Yeah. Well, I'd say certainly this movie is full of comedy. I mean, we have some great comedy between Moana and Maui and our rooster. It is full of action and adventure. They're sailing across the sea. They're battling monsters. They're fighting the big lava monster. But it has emotion too, I think, and it really gets you involved in her story. So, and the message, I think, has to do with, it is sort of about empowerment, I think. It's about respecting nature, but it's also about looking inside yourself, whether or not you're a boy or a girl or a man or a woman, and really trying to figure out who you are and staying with that. Yeah.
Listening to the voice inside, regardless of the voices around you that may be telling you, you should be this, or you should do this, or you should be this, that if you listen to the voice inside, it will help you find your way.
The theme of this is you have to remember where home is to move on to the next place. You have to keep your island in your mind. You know, for me, that island is both Puerto Rico and Manhattan. And my knowledge of those places gives me, and my love of those places gives me the courage to move on to the next challenge, whatever it may be. And so, for me, this story about connectedness and knowing where you came from, but also using that as encouragement to be brave and to be bold, that's more important now than ever.
No, and congratulations, the music is beautiful.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure,
Okay,
really.
thank you so much.
Thank you, it's a pleasure.
Thank you.